Hi everyone, my name is Brian Davis and welcome to my Paralenz and GoPro journey. Firstly, quick apology. This week I did say I was going to upload my Fusion 1500 report. That's this video light come underwater torch. Unfortunately, I just ran out of time because I want to measure the burn times effectively. So that means getting my lumen tester built and done. So at the end of the manufacturer's burn times, I can actually measure the lumens or the lux or candela just to see if the light output's dropped off. I've not had time. I've had a particularly hectic week at work. I do this part-time. I do a minimum of 50 hours a week in my day job, and then I try and get all the YouTube stuff. So sorry about that. It will definitely be uploaded next Friday. The second thing I want to talk about today, it's called my GoPro and Paralenz journey, and there's still no Paralenz. I ordered the Paralenz way back in June. I paid for it. I was promised delivery in September. I sent a chaser to them. They still promised delivery in September. Right, and guess what? I just recently had an email saying due to COVID-19, we're now going to deliver it in October. I mean, that just freaks me out. We had COVID-19 in June. They must have known. I paid them over $800 for the camera plus the accessories, so it's not cheap by any means. Right? So I'm quite disappointed. If that's the level of customer service from Paralenz, I'm not going to be a very happy Teddy in future. But let's see. I'm desperate to get that camera so I can do the wide angle with the apparently world-class white balance. But come on, don't take the money if you're not going to deliver when you say you're going to deliver. Talking about customer service, GoPro, what an amazing company they are for service. As you know, I'd sent my Hero 8 back because it had some bleeding on the front screen. In less than 9 days, they'd received back the camera, which they paid for me to send it back, and sent me a brand new one. So there it is, there's my new Hero. That is exceptional customer service, if you ask me, and I think the ladies and gentlemen at Paralenz could learn a lot from that. I am going to have a gripe though, because GoPro, why do you need such a big box to send back a replacement camera? Why do you have to continue using plastic? You could have had a simple cardboard box, that sort of size, with the camera in, and I would have been happy. Just think of the extra freight involved in that box. So that's my little green gripe to the good folks at GoPro. So also this week, we all know the GoPro Hero 9 is out. I was going to order one. I got a special offer because I have a GoPro subscription, or signed up for a GoPro subscription. Really good prices, and you get 50% off the housing as well. Guess what? You can't order the housing, they're out of stock. So I would have ordered a Hero 9 on the special offer and the housing, but it's not available. So that's my little gripe with GoPro out of the way. Let's talk about my setup. I've been using it, I'm quite happy with it. This is going to be the last week with the Fusion on and with my Super Tigs. I'm quite happy with these so far, but I've got some new lights which I'll talk about in a minute. I'm glad that I had some comments on last week's video, and thanks to Dive Monster, a scuba tuber in the Philippines. He didn't like the way that I measured the displacement and calculated buoyant force. I just followed what I found on WikiHow on the internet. So he's given me a tip. He says that for every 1.6 kilo weight of your rig, you need around 1 kilo of buoyancy. So I'm going to try that, because if that tip works, it just makes it easy for all of us. So coming up now is where you see me weigh this, and then I attach some flotation devices on that I've calculated are similar to what's required, and we'll see what happens. Dive monster. This could be the myth breaker. It could be Dive Monster's myth buster. Who knows? But let's see. Okay, so Dive Monster disagreed with my buoyancy calculations last week and has suggested a different way. He says for every 1.6 kilos that your rig weighs in air, you just need to compensate with a kilo of buoyancy. So guess what? We're going to try that, because if it works, it's going to be a really simple way for people to get their rigs neutrally buoyant or less heavy. Let's see. So we're going to weigh this now in air, and then I'm going to use polystyrene to compensate the buoyancy, and then just check it in my seawater tub, and I'll be able to have a visual idea then if it works or not, how close it is. So there we go. Let's put it on the balance, and we've got, say, 2.9 kilos. So I'll just work out now what buoyancy I need. So we'll take 2.9 divide by 1.6. So we're going to need about 1.8 kilos of buoyancy. So I've got some polystyrene cake molds. As I say, I'm not going to take this underwater, so I'm just going to calculate that amount of buoyancy, attach it to the camera rig, and put it in seawater. See if it floats or sinks, and if it sinks, how slowly does it sink? And we'll just see if Dive Monster's given us a good tip. I've calculated the volume of this, and it's just over 4 litres, so that's going to give about 4 kilos of buoyancy, so they're too big. I've got these smaller ones, which are 90 centimetres by 30 centimetres, and that will give around 1.9 kilos of buoyancy, less what it weighs. So it weighs about 50 grams. So that might do it. I've got 2 of these. I'm going to make one that'll give me about 1.8 kilos of buoyancy and try them both. And hopefully it might work. Here we go. I've put on a polystyrene nearly to what I think is the same buoyancy as per Dive Monster's calculations. We'll put it into the tub. Bring the camera over. So Dive Monster, I think the calculation you gave me is not correct. That's equal 1 kilo of buoyancy for 1.6 kilo of rig, and it floats on the surface. So I would say that's myth busted. Right, now what we'll try is per my calculation and see what happens. Okay, now I've cut the block down to around, so it gives a buoyancy of around 670. I've just calculated the volume and adjusted it for the weight. It's not exact, but it's enough to see whose calculation is clearer and nearer, mine or Dive Monster's. Because he doesn't believe the way I did it, right? So let's put that in. And guess what? I've not got neutral buoyancy either. So both of us are wrong. It's somewhere in between. Mine sank to the bottom, Dive Monster's floated. So that's work in progress. I've got to do a bit more work on how can I calculate the buoyancy correctly. But obviously my method that I showed you last week is not correct, and the method that Dive Monster suggested also is not correct. Dive Monster, I'm sorry, it didn't work. You know, I don't know where that came from, but you saw the evidence there. You know, I put the polystyrene on, which I'd calculated was approximately what was required, and it didn't work. So myth busted. But having said that, I've had AliExpress have said my buoyant arms are in the country being cleared by Dubai Customs. So I'm hoping that the week after next I'll have some more information on how to balance the rig. Next Friday, as I said, will be the Fusion 1500 review. The week after that, if I've received the buoyant arms, we'll have a go at trying to at least get the rig a lot lighter in the water, and then see if we can balance it. Remember, I'm no expert, I'm learning as I go along, and I'm just sharing it with you. So let's talk about these. I like the Fusion light, it's done well for me, and it's still got a place in my videography, and you'll find out where that is next week. But these were on AliExpress, $36 each, delivered Dubai. They say they're 6,000 lumens. There's not much you see here now, where they were on AliExpress. There's not really that much information. They don't come with a manual. They come just like this. Right. So you've got the light, which can be used as a torch, or you can put that on to use with your video camera. They come with a charger, which only charges 2 batteries at a time. They take 4. And came with a little adapter as well. But for $36, or $37, if these are 6,000 lumens, and if they have a burn time of at least an hour, in my book, that's really good value. So I'm looking forward, from next week I'm going to be using these. I'm looking forward to diving with these. They're much more compact, so they'll make the rig, I think, easier to use. I'm going to mount 2 straight away. Look pretty bright. 2 settings, high and low. The reviews on AliExpress, which you can just see now, or the average reviews, were pretty good. So, dark video lights cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If these work, I mean, it's just going to let people take better quality video much more cost effectively, because as many people on YouTube will tell you, many of the experts spend the money on the lighting, have good lighting over the camera. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the weeks ahead, trying to use these, see how they work, testing them to see if they actually are 600 lumens. And also next week I will have my sort of lumen tester box up and running, so we can have a good look at the claims on these. But I'm pretty excited, let's see how they perform. Anyway, that's it for this week. Hopefully I've written to Paralenz again today. Hopefully they'll give me a delivery date, because I'm excited to show you that. I'm excited to get underwater with it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notify button.